Hello, cosmonauts. Welcome back to the Triple C Show with Triple C Chad. How are you, Chad?
Triple C. My name only has one C. You weirdo. Why you can't count?
But you're the Cosmos Collective, Chad. CCC.
Oh, I get it now.
And the David is CCD.
I'll take it.
And you're CCJ.
I'm just here for the
snacks.
For the snacks. Couldn't think of a way to finish that sentence. But today we're going to talk about an exciting series. Hopefully we'll be able to do this over the next few episodes as we welcome the first episode of Old Man Learns How to Kickstarter. Yay!
Yay!
I should be offended by the old man part, but quite frankly, I got a little happy about hearing that part. So
I'm speaking as a fellow old man, so I say that lovingly.
Yeah. Chad, you're not quite there yet, jerk.
No, I'm not. I'm not old yet.
What? Not to label you, but what generation are you? If you don't mind me asking, are you millennial?
Yeah, I'm a millennial.
Millennial.
Yeah,
I am actually too. I'm right on the cusp.
Oh,
I'm one of them elder millennials.
You youngsters.
Yeah, we're youngins.
The member of the best generation. The generation that could not be named.
The silent generation? I thought you were
Whoa, I'm not that old. Holy smokes. Gen X, baby. Gen X.
You're from the Stone Age.
Wow. Wow.
That's the generation.
Rubble over here. I was going to say Gen X is
hey, Freddy, baby.
Fred. Oh.
Hey, Fred.
Oh, gotta get my picnic. No, that's a different character.
That's all right. We'll take it. Yeah,
I mean, really, Barney and Yogi had the similar voices anyway. They just did the whole.
And I think this is a good time of year to talk about this, as a lot of creators. This is the time of year, that for some reason, when that year turns over, we all get excited to do that first project in January, February. So I'm sure a lot of people, if you're in the chat or you're on YouTube afterwards, leave us a comment. If you have something launching soon, what are your plans for the year? Chad, why don't you catch us up real quick? Give us the 2-sentence. Where are you at? Where's Rolling Squid Bones as we start 2026?
We have 2 books coming out next week.
Nice.
So that'll be cool. Yep, 2. And right now, Set the Hook. The Violent Arc 1 is coming out. The Kickstarter is coming out on February 15th.
February 15th.
So after Valentine's Day.
After Valentine's Day.
So now you don't have
all the loving's done.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Are you gonna put in little free packs of little candy hearts in when people buy them?
Yep, those shitty chalky hearts.
Yeah.
They're like Tums, right? They're like Tums.
Yep. Maybe a condom too, just hey, gotta be safe.
Holy,
gotta be safe. I know at the very least that Set the Hook 3 and 4 have subpar lettering that you're still sending to print for some reason, but that's okay. I respect it. It's too late to change.
Yeah, since you did it, and I was like, wow, this is mediocre, and but I will accept it. So
too late to change it.
When I was young, my dad said, "Son, strive for mediocre," and I've never looked back since.
You know what?
Mediocre's okay.
Mediocrity.
So low, no one will notice if you fail. Marge Simpson.
The March of the Mediocre. Is that what you just said? The March of the Mediocre?
That's the name of our show.
Get out of town.
March of the Mediocre.
Well, what are you up to, David? We'll talk about what your plans are for this year, but Offspring 35 is
so 34. Just put out 35 last week. So last Wednesday, issue 35 came out, ready to go. The first part of a 3-parter, which is pretty exciting. I am 2 issues now away from the end of season 3 of The Offspring. So Omnibus 3 will be coming out sometime around like summertime-ish. So 3 omnibuses, in the span of what has been 7 years, not too shabby. Focusing on The Offspring, so just getting out as many issues as I can in the next year. It's gonna be amazing, and not mediocre at all.
You sure?
Well, opinions vary.
Well, what I
Remember,
have,
we here at the Cosmos, we aim for mediocrity.
aim for honesty. And what
John,
I
give
have
us a
coming
report.
out,
As you have Argyle.
yay!
Hey.
We have Argyle the Arachnigator. We did a little bit of a switcheroo. Had a little bit behind the schedule, as a lot of us find ourselves after the holidays. Had all these huge plans that everything was going to be set up, and it wasn't. But luckily, had a book in the works, in the wings, and we'd rather start off with a finished book than one that's not where we want it to be. So, Argyle the Arachnigator, jumping out of the pages of Drumsticks of Doom, is going to be launching next week. It is a mini comic featuring art by my wonderful daughter, who helped co-create Argyle the Arachnigator for the book, and my Drumsticks of Doom co-creator Dan Doherty. So it's a mini comic with 2 stories, and we're going to kind of use that today to talk about the foundation of starting a Kickstarter. So we thought we'd roll that in. Also, it did finally get, after months of waiting for it to get across the seas, our first retail book, Drumsticks of Doom #1, will be in stores next week. We finally got the copies, have made their way over to the States.
Woo.
We're so excited about that. I've been waiting anxiously to see how that goes. So I'll keep everybody posted on that. But yeah, why don't we jump into it? For those of you who've never done a Kickstarter, Kickstarter.com is the common acronym that we use for, or vernacular we use for crowdfunding.
Yeah.
People just call it Kickstarter because was one of the first and very much the most popular site around. But certainly you can do other sites. This applies to Zoop and Indiegogo, or whatever your heart desires. A lot of these crowdfunding tips will give you, will apply.
Yeah.
And if you've never done a Kickstarter, welcome to the club, because I'm the newbie, right? I'm the newbie. I've never done a Kickstarter. I'm a one-man band, so to really the only thing it ever cost me is time. But at this point, I think getting a Kickstarter is super smart, and the next level for me to be able to kind of level up, get a little bit of a cash in there to be able to get the next level of printing and merchandise and things like that for all my fan, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think it's we appreciate you. We appreciate you talking about it. Taking this risk to talk about it live, and really. We joke about your age and everything like that, but it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. I think that everyone should use Kickstarter. It's just such a powerful platform. It's just such a part of the industry for growing your audience, for getting, funds you need for other books. But you do want to go in it with some knowledge, right? You don't just want to say, okay, this is literally the first page of a book I've ever drawn. I'm going to put it up on Kickstarter and see if it sells. Well, get some background first. And Chad and I have, for better or worse, done this far too many times. So we're happy to kind of share our thoughts with David, and then again with you, the audience, and hopefully, you find this helpful.
Well, I feel super lucky because there's nobody else I'd rather have me walk through the situation, walk through uncharted waters for me than two seasoned grown experts here. So thank you guys very much for being my guide on this new journey here of getting Kickstarter up.
Your modesty is horrifying.
Yeah, and we feel bad for you now. No one else to ask.
You expect way too much from us.
Well, if it goes completely haywire, then I know exactly who to blame.
That's true.
That's true. Okay, I see where this is going.
Well,
the first thing you want to do, and this is what we call a pre-launch page. This is where you get your link going around. You get people to follow that link so that when you launch, and this may be something we're going to kind of speak in terms of if everybody was new to this, but for a lot of you listening to this, you may know. But again, we want to help those newer to it. So the first thing you want to do, there's a lot of setup, and we won't go through it step by step. We'll do some of that with David off the air, but you want to get it to the point where you have a pre-launch link that you can share before. You never want to get your page approved and then launch it to a cold audience, so to speak, because part of what gets the algorithm going and gets the funds going up is having people back it, share it the first day it launches. So what I'm showing you now here is just the basic page. They've done a lot of upgrades, including you used to have to get your project approved to get this link, but you don't now. You don't have to have it fully completed. You can get this pre-launch link get followers going. You see I have 23 here already. So that's great. That's a huge step, because before you had to do the whole process, get every step approved, and then they give you the link, and that just eats up so much time where you can get this bouncing around while you're still, getting shipping prices down pat and putting, images on there, all that, the nuts and bolts that you have to do. Now Kickstarter is finally, and this is just in the last year, finally allowed you to get the link before. So that's kind of, where why my page is up here in the pre-launch stage.
Mine too is also in the pre-launch stage as well.
Nice.
So
feel free to
there.
Yeah.
So as you guys build this, just so I can kind of imagine in my brain, and I think we're gonna do some of this in the next episode together, right? As I build this, so you're building this page, and once you start the page, they give you a link that says you can have people come to this page and watch you kind of build it as you go before you actually launch the whole Kickstarter. How long do you have? This is like you have 2 weeks to build this page, and then you can preview it, and then you have to launch it, or is it kind of however long it takes you to do it?
Great
as long
question.
as it takes you to do it.
As long as it takes you to do it. I've done ones where it's been up for 10 days and I go ahead and launch it. I've done ones where I've done it, promoted the link for a year. So they never really take it down or take it away from you once that URL is in place. You get to choose when you do it. It isn't automatic when you create a project. You go, you give it, like I gave mine a very easy link. It's, Part-Time Comics /Argyle, for the name. You can kind of customize your link, so that's nice. Okay. But yeah, you get to go in and just get that link going whenever you're ready to start sharing it, because you do want to have some, again, this is a big addition to it. It used to just be your log line and then whatever image you had, but now they let you add, you can add some reward images here, you can add some cool stuff, talk about what the book's about, so you do make your own kind of custom landing page to go with it.
Okay. Yeah, nice. John, do you have a video there with it? We talked about this a little bit in the past, but I used to hear that videos were like mandatory, but it sounds like they aren't.
They are not. Really, there's very few things in here that are mandatory. And no, you do not have to have a video. I've done a few campaigns where I haven't done a video. I don't get a ton of plays on the video in general. You can see all those stats behind the scenes, which, will be interesting to see. Yeah, you can see how many plays you've gotten and how many people played it till the end. So
I didn't know that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, if you want to hyperfixate on those kind of things like I do, why isn't anybody watching my video? But it also gives you the data to say, again, this is my 25th one. So I get to say the last video had 9 plays. I'm not going to spend 3 hours making a video this time, because I think my audience kind of already knows what Drumsticks of Doom is about, right? But that's really up to you. I do think on a first project, you should definitely have a video. I do think on a new IP, you should have a video. Even if it's just a short video, I've done very short ones where it's just me talking for 30 seconds and saying, hey, welcome, to the campaign. This is what it's about. This is what you get. Give a little FaceTime to the audience, show who you are, why you're doing this project. That's usually what people say is more important than, going through every tier or talking about the rewards. They just want to know how this book came to be, why it's important to you, why it's on Kickstarter. And you don't have to really do too much. I've seen people who do full productions with music and scores and sound effects and all this stuff.
And those are the crazy people.
And those are the crazy people. Maybe that does well for them, or they just happen to be really good at it. But for me, it's such a learning curve. When I felt like I finally learned a software, it goes away, and then you got to learn another one. It's because I've been doing this for 15 years. So now I just like to kind of keep it real simple, something I can do in like iMovie on my phone, get it up there. That's just kind of where I'm at with the video.
So John, you like just a talking head situation where you're just holding up maybe a copy of the book or something and saying, or whatever you have, an artwork or whatever, and saying, this is the book and this is what it's about. So, check it out.
Yeah. I'm a novice editor, so I can do, a couple, fade into your cover or whatever, show a couple graphics, but I keep it pretty slim. Chad, I think you put, much more into yours. I don't know if that's even you doing it or you have somebody, or.
No, I do it. I do all my own. I do all my videos. Yeah, I for this Kickstarter I'm not doing it, but I had a guy who did sea shanties. and seeing them on the track. But this time I decided not to. I'm actually just building a I just took a clip of a tape recorder, and my wife did like a narration explaining the entire, like the synopsis of it, and then it's done. So it's like a 10-second video. Yeah. So I decided, because everything else has just been a lot of work, putting together the actual files, getting all the different, well, and we'll get into this later, but like the stretch goals and all of that. I'm like, oh, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that a video I just the lowest priority I could do.
Sure.
Yeah. And as you see, as what got the question going, as you probably saw, or no, maybe you didn't see. Yeah, I don't have the video done for mine either. It's almost always the last thing I do, which is probably a huge mistake. Maybe it is more helpful than I've given it credit for, but I usually wait till the end too, because there's just so much to do with setting these things up that it's awesome. But David, you said you've got one. Maybe you even show us next week. You've kind of already got one in the tank.
Yeah, I'll put it in our Google Drive, and we maybe take a look at it, and you guys can critique it and say yay or nay. Whether you think it's good, whether you think it stinks, whatever. The best part about something like this for me, and we've already discussed it in my old age. I really do see all that feedback as just a positive. Even if somebody hates it, Mike, that's good feedback. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, so we'll take a look at that in the next show. I'll put it on the Google Drive, and you guys can take a look. And it might be, John, I really like the idea. I have print copies of the book I'm going to kickstart. So just holding it up and flipping through and saying, this is what I do. This sounds like a great idea to me also.
And that's great. You're ahead of the game. You've already got some experience with making that kind of stuff. Why not use it? And again, I think it is really important for newer creators to the platform and new IPs to have something, letting them, visually and auditorily take in the book rather than just kind of reading it on the screen,
Sure.
Some other things, again, as we're kind of focusing on the getting started part, I always like to go in with the budget in mind. I kind of know how much it costs me to produce the book, how much I need to print it. So I always think that's a good place to start. Before you build your tiers, have an idea of what goal am I shooting for? Because then you're going to know what you need to put in those tiers, where they need to be at. If your goal is $6,000, it's going to be very different than if it's $1,000.
Sure.
I don't know, Chad, if that's a similar place to where you start, or you work backwards and say, okay, I have a 24-page book. I'll sell it for about 10. So I need this. Where do you come at with the budget?
I look at it pretty much like that. I look at it as, all right, I have a 24-page book. This is how much I spent on it. This is going to be my budget. So then what I do is I take a look at how many variant covers, and that also is factored into the budget as well. And how much my goal is going to be. So, yeah.
Yep. And David and I talked about this off air. The most backers you're going to get, I don't know if I'm yet to see a campaign that's really an anomaly. You're always going to get the most is going to be your digital tier for the book, whatever you decide that at. That's just, people want the basic item that they're coming to get and the physical copy of the book. So those will probably be 50 to 60% of your backers. And then if you have other tiers up the line, digital bundles, other books, maybe peers donated books, or maybe you have, tchotchkes or shirts or whatever, you'll get a couple along there, but most of your backers are always going to be in that. So you have to keep that in mind. Chad mentioned variant covers. That's a big part of the industry in general. I don't do a ton of variant covers, but that is something to keep in mind, right? Because if I think I might get 10 backers who will buy the special variant for $20, that's going to help my budget, right? I can stretch a little bit further with the stuff I produce or the again, the tchotchkes that I want to get. That's something to keep in mind. I know many other creators do, 4, 5, 6, 7 variants. But then again, that budget also eats into your budget, because then you're paying, you may be paying, for that. So something to keep in mind. How much are you producing? It has to be taken into account. David, you're in the fortunate position, I guess I say that with quotation marks, to where your budget is only to print the book, right? Because you don't believe in paying yourself. You see yourself as worthless. So that's a great place to start, right? Because now you can set your budget wherever you want it to be, really.
Yeah, and but I think like you're saying, I'm in a situation that might be a little different than a lot of the other people that do Kickstarters, because it's already produced. A lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, do the Kickstarter in the hopes to be able to get the money to produce the thing.
Yeah, I would say about half. I've definitely
I'd say
moved to the
that
other
could be pretty
side where I used to have it all done, and now I kind of need the funds to keep the production going.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people treat it differently. Most, I wouldn't say most. Chad, do you agree? 50% of campaigns say that the book is completely finished before they launch. Is that too high?
No, I would say that's pretty reasonable. I mean, I've ran into ones that the book's not even done. Like it only has the first 10 pages or 10 pages done. And they use that as the preview. But I would say at least the majority has the book done, or at least 50% done.
Okay.
But you can never go, you never know what with these type of Kickstarters, how long it's going to be, or what's going to hold up the production.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it's either, well, and not to throw the artists under the bus, it's either the artists or it's the shipping.
Sure.
Yeah. But now luckily, Dave, you can just say, hey, I'm a lazy human being. I'm not going to do the art. Shame on me. I blame me. So
wash my hands of the whole thing.
Right, exactly. You just take the money and run, and you're good.
I definitely, I do feel like in the early days of Kickstarter that most books came to the table not being done.
Yeah.
And I think there was some growing pains with that, campaigns that didn't follow through. Kickstarter is very upfront that this is, you're funding a project to get started. You may not get the product, but I do think in our community that people take pride in it and they don't want to fail. But like Chad said, if you aren't a decent way through the process, you're just opening yourself up to more variables that are going to happen, right? Yeah. The ship's going to sink in the ocean with your books, or the artist is going to get sick, or the colorist is going to quit, or whatever. And I think it's better. I do think people tell me still, even now, I got burned in the past and I only back books where they say the product's finished. Yeah. I know there are a handful of people. So I know that right up front will help you, David. You have the book in hand, you can show it. Hey, I've already got copies. I've seen what it looks like in print. So I don't even have to wait for a proof copy or worry about those kind of things. Yeah. I'm ready to go. So that's a great place to start.
Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't want to be in a situation too. If somebody has a Kickstarter and they collect all the money and then don't ever ship the thing, you can never do another Kickstarter again, right? I would assume that people wouldn't do another Kickstarter because am I naive there? That they just keep putting out Kickstarters in the hope that people.
Oh, there's a few. There's a few who, they got brass balls or something. They just, sure, they'll launch another one. There was a guy who underestimated shipping and then tried to do another Kickstarter to raise the money to ship the books that he hadn't shipped, and it was like a whole controversy. People will do wild things. Don't be one of those people.
There are people though that I have seen this before, and I won't be naming names on it, where what they will do is that they will actually never release a book, but then somehow they still end up funding. Like they're on their next Kickstarter. Like their previous one's not even fulfilled. It's been like 4 or 5 years. And then they make another one, and then so it's just crazy.
I'm not that guy, but quite frankly, hearing about some of these stories and being a little bit in the know from you guys and from other people, to me, I want to make sure, especially on my first one, but with so much content, I want to make sure I still set myself up to succeed. Right. So that I'm not in a position where 6 months have gone by and I'm still struggling to get the books mailed out. Does that make sense? So really, any decision that I'll make here in this is to say, how can I get the product, whether it's print or digital, or whether it's, extra tier thing, whatever it is, how can I get it out as quickly and efficiently and as cheap as I possibly can to make sure that I can, first of all, give what I'm promising, and second of all, still have all my hair when I'm done.
Well, you can't guarantee that you'll have all your hair. It won't all be great.
Now that I'm out,
things happen in the process that we can't guarantee. But you're coming in with the right mindset. And a lot of people in their first one do not think ahead. Like I said, they'll order a bookmark and a print, and you get a super limited lenticular cover, and they don't price how much a lenticular cover actually costs, and all these things that they don't think about that then end up eating the cost, and then they go to ship and they don't have money for shipping because they went over budget. So you have to think about all these things in advance. And I do think nowadays, I don't think people want they come to Kickstarter to support people, and they like exciting and exclusive things. There's all kinds of bizarre things like signed drumsticks I've sold on Kickstarter that I never thought I'd see. So they like fun stuff, but they don't necessarily at this point need 50 tchotchkes to back your book. I don't think people go and look and say, oh, it's David giving 10 things away free. No, they appreciate it, I think, but I don't think you need to go overboard with the rewards to get people to support you. And again, because that will all help with the process afterwards, right? Because then you're not remembering, oh, did I stuff 10 things into this envelope, and oh, did I run out? Now I have to go order more. Did it make my shipping price go up because I put too much in there? Or now I need bigger boxes. All that stuff you don't have to worry about because you've kind of got an idea. Okay.
Yeah. And nine times. Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, make rewards that fit with the comic in your shipping. That's a big one too, because that will save you a lot of stress.
Yeah. Well, I think that too, I want my content. I'm a pretty bread and butter kind of guy. I want my content to kind of speak for itself. So I'm probably like thinking about talking about like alternative covers and all that kind of stuff. I don't really feel like or think that would be something that would, like you were saying, go along with my brand of. It's going to be, here's the book. It's a good, fun book. Buy the book, read the book, tell people it's good. Yep. I mean, I'm not a bells and whistles kind of guy. So to keep it as simple as I possibly can, I think would be, the way for, me to set myself up to succeed and like I said, we talked about a couple tier things, keeping a lot of those extras as like a digital copy of this or that, but also having like I can find one. Like I do these little postcard type things that have like the, sometimes it's my logo, sometimes it's images from the book, sometimes it's a cover, sometimes whatever. Like these I can print out fairly easily. But I don't know how excited people would get about something like this. You know what I mean? So to have something like that in there, maybe a fun little thing. Up here? maybe a fun little thing. But this is maybe a fun little thing. But how much would people care? That would be one of my questions about that, right? So people put on those little things, little bookmarks, little this or that, but yeah, okay, fun. I'm glad you like it, but would it matter? Right?
Personally, I'm a sticker and bookmark type of person.
Okay.
So with my rewards, it's sticker and bookmark, and people seem to really like those. Okay. So yeah, I would say that people would care, especially if they paid for it. If they give it a freebie, if you have way too much stuff, from what I've noticed, is people aren't even going to freaking remember what they're getting for free.
I mean, speaking from personal experience, I do feel like a lot of times I appreciate the prints and they're cool and people do their covers and, original images, but they mostly just sit in the backing board of the comic after I read it. So like Chad said, I'm mostly a bookmark, sticker, maybe a pin, I like to put those on my bag or stuff like that.
So don't underestimate little bits that go with.
Yeah.
But don't overestimate them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
But you had mentioned, and I actually don't know if we were live or not, you had mentioned doing like an art page and like signing it. That might be, something somebody enjoys and they keep it with the comic,
Yeah.
Maybe they pin it up on their wall or something like that. That's a thoughtful idea.
Okay.
But yeah, keep the size, in mind whenever you do something like that. And like you said, if you've got an option to print them pretty cheaply, but make them nice, then, why not utilize that,
Yeah. Okay.
But the other thing to keep in mind is the length of your campaign. Kickstarter will automatically set to 30 days, which is what most people do because it's just what Kickstarter comes up with.
Yeah.
I think that's great for especially as your first few campaigns. I will just say as a longtime veteran, I do much shorter campaigns. I kind of know what the audience is going to back or not for a book most of the time. And it kind of cuts out a lot of the middle days where you're kind of posting on social media and nobody's really backing. And those days can be slow. So it's really up to you to think, hey, part of Kickstarter is no matter how many times you've done it, it takes your attention away from other things, your life, your family, your work, the other, comics you're trying to produce. So the more days you're live, you have to think about, is my investment in that worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And that ranges from everybody, right? There's people who we know in the community, and Chad and I have done it before, that are just actively promoting all the time. They're on other people's YouTube shows, and they're, updating their old campaigns and their message list and going live on Facebook. They're doing something, constantly to make it, to have value, to find backers each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of us do that. Like I said, there was a certain point where I realized, well, I'm kind of promoting in the first 5 days and the last 5 days and the middle 20 days. I'm kind of just letting the link just kind of sit out there. And I realized if I trimmed a week or two off, that it reduced my stress. It got going on the next book, and it's gone well for me. So just a couple notes about the time. It's really up to you. If you just want to do the straight 30 days and see how it goes,
yeah,
you can do that. But there is that option to adjust it.
Yeah, that would be one of those things where I'd have to just try it for the first time and just see what happens, see how I feel about it. If I get 20 days into it and I'm exhausted, is there like, can you just cut it off?
You can.
Like, if you've gone, I was going to say, if you go 10 days and you've made it and you're like, okay, I'm done. Or
you can cut it off in the sense of I'm canceling it and I will get none of the pledges. That's all you can do. You cannot end it early.
Okay.
Which I've always thought was kind of weird. You should be able to end it when you want to end it. But so once you click that live, it's locked in for what you choose.
It would be so nice if we could end it once we fund, because then that way that would help with those people that will, and we can talk about that a little bit too, was they will back something at a high tier and then cancel it maybe a couple of days or a couple of hours before the campaign ends.
I've had some where they cancel it within an hour of backing. It's like there's some weird things that happen that we'll be interested to see how you experiencing them. Yeah. But yeah, it would be nice if maybe you just got to your funding goal and they said congratulations. But there is a chance also when you go over your funding goal to keep going. So I kind of get it in both respects, but I wish they kind of gave you the option to say, okay, I've had enough. I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'd start with the 30 days and just see what happens to start off with.
The one thing I would suggest is if you choose the day and you don't pick your day, like how here I've got highlighted, you can't pick the time either. So if you launch it at 10 a.m., it's going to end at 10 a.m. So something to keep in mind. Some people want it, I always want mine to end in the evening so I can do a live show or kind of count it down with people. So I always choose the evening time just to end it, US evening time.
Sure.
So that's just something to keep in mind too.
How does, I can ask a question about the actual funding, like when people go in and put money into their tiers, into whatever tier. So say one of your tiers is $40 for a whole bunch of stuff. So they put them, say I'm going to use the word donate, but that's not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for, guys? If they've decided that they're $40,
they've supported. Yeah.
Thank you. The backers have put in $40 too. And they is that something that, how do I say it? At the end of the 30 days or 10 days or how long you do it, is that something that if all that money is there and it just gets dumped into a bank account that you provide from Kickstarter? Is that what happens?
Yeah. So they will not charge them until you fund and it ends. So if it ends without funding, they don't get charged.
Okay.
That's part of the Kickstarter model. I wish they would just charge them right away. It causes a whole thing afterwards, but that's the model right now. Okay. They also cannot cancel to take you under funding within the last 48 hours, just so you know.
Okay.
So you don't have to sweat it out.
Is that new?
Within the last year or so, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, they can't. Now they can request their money back afterwards and cancel. Doesn't happen very often, but they can. But what happens is you'll fund your day to end is today. Kickstarter is almost like clockwork. You'll get the money 14 days after into the bank account that you chose without the 9% Kickstarter fee, which includes 5% to Kickstarter, 4-ish% to Stripe for the credit card usage.
Okay.
So it comes out to about 9%. It's like 8.9999 or something like that.
Okay.
So you'll get all that. That includes, now the other thing we need to talk about is a new addition to Kickstarter is you get to choose if you charge shipping in the campaign or you charge it post.
Okay.
I would charge it in the campaign. I hate getting the notification that I owe money for something I've already backed, 6 months later or 2 months later. That's how most of us do it. But if you're worried about not knowing it, you can just say very boldly in the campaign, you will be charged shipping afterwards, you know, in every tier. This does not include shipping. However you want to relate that to your audience.
So if your tier is $20 for a print book, you can say $20 plus $5 shipping and handling.
And you get to choose regions, and we'll talk about that maybe next week. I have a region for Canada, America, and the rest of the world, because those shippings, I kind of know where they're going to be at.
Yeah.
But you can also say no international either. Some people do that because it is a very high price for international shipping.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about, you know, other options to include that if you want to. But yes, you get to pick, and then it'll ask them what country they're in, and then it'll charge the shipping accordingly, added to the price of the tier.
Okay.
And again, most of them know that it's like a little checkout system. You buy your tier, then we'll talk about how you create like little add-ons, like stickers or whatever. They can go to like an add-on section. Usually you should have a couple things in there just so they can throw a couple other things in their cart. Then it'll tell them the total of shipping. They'll pledge, and then they'll be locked in. Again, they can cancel at any time. So that can be frustrating, but most, you know, I would say I get less than 5 a campaign, you know, most times. They can fail to use an improper credit card, which is more frustrating because it'll go to the end. You'll be trying to charge them, or Kickstarter will be, and then you won't get that funding. But unfortunately, that's again something you can't really control.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great thing to think of too, because how much you think of, even if it's shipping something, you know, from state to state, might cost $3, $4, $5, whatever it is, especially if it's a bigger thing. Yep. So to not even think about that shipping, and if you're shipping out 100 books, that can start to build up. So yeah, to be able to add that shipping is a great point. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people don't also calculate into it is you get charged a fee on the total amount. So you get that 9% shipping. So if you set your shipping too low, and then you're giving away 27 cents or 36 cents or whatever it is, that's part of your cost too. And your shipping supplies. A lot of people, I feel like, undercharge because they don't take into account, you know, the mailers they're going to use and things like that, which it all adds up, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So my next question about monies was, so what if I say, like somebody said they're doing a Kickstarter for $5,000, and after the 30 days they only get $3,000. If you don't make your ask, your quota, is it all null and void? Okay.
Yep.
It's all, even Kickstarter is all or nothing. They have put out surveys and talked about changing. There's other websites that if you don't make your goal, like they take a different amount, like, which is kind of weird too.
Indiegogo does that.
Yeah, and so does Zoop. So there's other sites you can use if you don't want to use Kickstarter, but it is all or nothing as of right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if you get $409.99, you know, and 99 cents, you do not.
You better have a fake or another account to.
Oh, don't tell them that trick already. We'll
teach
you how to make sure you get the money.
I mean, nobody does that.
Nobody
does that.
They do that. Jeez, nobody would want to make a fake account and to recover, you know, months of work and preparation rather than not fund by $5, which I've painfully watched people do.
I have seen that before too, and I'm like, they're like,
oh,
people will
don't
be like,
let it go down like this.
Can I get one more person to back? I'm like, I got a better idea for you.
I got a real.
I got a hypothetical thing for you.
But yeah, so right now Kickstarter's all or nothing, and the other thing about is we're only on the first page here, so this could be like a year-long foray in the show here. Another new feature is late pledges, which you can also choose, David. If even after it closes, you can choose how long you keep it open as kind of a web store, which I would recommend. It's only a couple extra clicks on your rewards as you're setting up, and then you can get people who they see the link on social media a week late because of the algorithm. They go there, they can still back the book, and then you get that money 7 to 14 days after. So it keeps it open as like a little bit of a slower web store for you. Which is a nice addition, because you would get people who'd be like, oh, I just missed the campaign. And you say, oh, come to our website and buy it. And they never show up. But if you do it this way, you get a couple extra at the end, you know.
That is nice. Yep. I like that. Okay.
And you can even keep it open indefinitely. Some people do that if they just want to kind of always have it on there. Because Kickstarter does have its own internal audience. Each campaign I get, 3 or 4 or 5 people that I didn't recognize from another campaign or from social media or something. And they've backed, 5,000 other projects, and they saw yours and they backed it. So I do think you want to, it's a good thing to take advantage of, because they do have people who are kind of just browsing or looking for certain topics or see your link somewhere else. And, it's just another way to kind of get a little extra funding there.
Okay.
And I think that's probably about enough for today. You see,
There's
we're
a
only
lot.
on page 1. We've got, to set up our story. We've got to set up our payment, which we won't go to. All the reward stuff is going to be a whole topic for next week. I think, as you can see, there's a lot of reward tiers and add-ons and all kinds of stuff that you can do in here.
Yeah, John and I, we talked a little bit about that, just so the viewers know. We talked a little bit about that before we got on the air, because I had some ideas, and clearly you guys know exactly what you're doing. But that really was one of my questions was, and that's something we could talk about in the next show, is that how many is too many, how many is not enough. For me, again, setting myself up to succeed, if I have too much and then I'm just pulling my hair out again to be able to get stuff done, it might not be advantageous to have too many tiers. But I want to make sure that people are getting their money's worth. If somebody,
and again, I think that's incredibly insightful. You're thinking way ahead, because I did not think of that at first. I was like, well, I have my book and I have my book plus a sticker. Why aren't everybody backing? Well, then you start to learn there is a science to it, right? There is people come there for certain things. They want to see tiers, but there's also overdoing it. We definitely have peers, no names, Chad, that will list 100 freaking things. And it's like reading a textbook to try and go through all these freaking tiers to figure out what you want.
Next week, I should ask Lori if she wants to come on and tell you about tiers.
No.
She's very, very, very knowledgeable.
Great guest to bring on.
Yeah, she's incredibly knowledgeable, and she will have a lot of recommendations, and she doesn't overdo it. She likes to have a lot of fun. And a lot of the stuff that she does is stuff that she can make.
Okay.
So that's really
I think that's a great idea, Chad. She is super thoughtful about what she does. She comes at it very differently than a lot of other creators think. She thinks of weird things outside the box that I laughed at first and said, no one's going to buy your freaking hot sauce on a comic campaign, and people go insane for it.
People do, yeah.
She makes little custom bound books, and she's a crafter at heart, and she's just very thoughtful. And again, she's also a woman and new to comic creation, so I think she's a great
savage.
She's a person that just thinks differently than most of us who are entrenched in the comic world, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
she's also a woman.
I mean, you got to admit. I mean, there's 3 guys talking right now. I mean, it's not.
I know.
It's not a bad idea.
Mystery.
I get it. I just think it's funny that you're like,
she's a woman.
I think of Mulan. She's a woman.
Be a man with all the strength.
I think one important aspect also to talk about next week when we start talking about the tiers is I don't want to underestimate the amount for each tier, right? Because part of you, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but as a creator, I'm like, $50 is too much for this and this and this and this and this and this. While another creator would say, you should be charging $100 for all that stuff.
And that's a very personal thing. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. Even if I raise a tier $1, I'm sweating at night. So, but other people are like, yeah, they'll pay $50 for this, 8-page book. Why not? Yeah. Everybody's going to be different how they approach it. But again, a good thought to have going in.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you want to make sure that you're not underwater on any tiers, right? Like I said, if you do offer pins and you only sell one, well, how much is it going to cost me to create one pin? Yeah. $35. So I don't want to necessarily do that unless I reach a certain threshold.
That's why you want to make sure too, though. You don't want to say, oh yeah, I believe, and I know other people do this, putting in your little your add-ons. Don't put pins and stuff like that in your add-ons at first. And the only reason why is because, as John said, you get one pin. Well, guess what? You're gonna have to print 50 of those pins to get that one. Yeah. And granted, you could sell them at conventions and everything, but that still doesn't mean that they would sell, and that's a whole other can of worms. But usually would just say stickers.
Yeah. I would think that my bread and butter would be digital copies of the multitude of books that I have. Maybe some of the postcard ideas, some of the print versions, maybe signed of different pages or different covers or whatever. But I could also do like original works of art for one of the tiers be who's your favorite character. And and I'll draw it. Now, if it's a comic book creator who can do that already, they'd probably I don't care about that. But if it's somebody who's just a comic fan, that maybe that could be something that they'd be interested in getting or buying, whatever it is. Or
original art tiers and custom art tiers do very well.
Even an original art from if it's another artist is buying the original art, don't underestimate that.
Yeah.
You'll get those, you will get creators that can draw their artists and they're like, hey, I want your artwork. Yeah. Whether it's to shit on it or light it on fire or praise it. I mean, it just depends on what they want.
I would say I have went away from original art partly because I only do it when if I'm doing a sketch card or something.
Sure.
I try not to have the artists I work with do it anymore because the time commitment.
Sure.
I feel like it's rude of me to say, hey, you've just drawn this whole book. Now spend some more time making money for the book. Yeah. In your case, again, you can decide that, right? If I'm going to do a custom sketch, but you do want to take into account all the things you've said to this point. And that's that if you get 8 people that order a sketch, that's fine. But if you get more than that, how long is that going to take me? And is that, taking away from other things? So
I was doing something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would love that.
Take me 10 minutes to do.
Or if you have like a blank page inside the book, you can do a little remark like that, where you do a little sketch and sign. People love that,
Or you can even do a book. Well, if you're not doing the graphic novel right now, you're just doing like issue 1 or something.
Well, it's 125, so it's
I think.
Okay. Well, you could do like a book plate or something.
Well, we're sitting here talking about it. Would it be more advantageous for the first one to do maybe one of my 24-page one shots?
Yes,
something that's just a one and done, and not a full big graphic novel.
Yeah, just to get your feet wet and people to get familiar with you.
That would probably make it easier just to be able to, like we were talking about, getting the digital copy to them. With a 24-page one-shot, I can email the digital copies out all day. So to have something like we were talking about the graphic novel being 125 pages, that's something where and not a big deal to put it in a Google document and then to give somebody just access, like viewer access to the Google document. That's not a big deal. But some people might say, hey, I want this kind of on my phone, and I want, not that you can't do it on your phone, but you know what I'm saying. Something that they could have there to be a little bit easier access for them. Yeah. So maybe it's smarter for me to do pick one of my 24-page one shots and start with that.
I think that's a great idea. I also think too, when you're talking about your phone stuff, I have done this in the past is wallpapers, phone wallpapers for your not so much for your desktop and everything, but you can do wallpapers for your phone. And actually, now that I think about it, I should probably do one for a computer.
So I've got here one of my favorite promo pieces for the Offspring here is a wallpaper for my phone, and just sending out a JPEG.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, and I've also done coloring pages.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could do those too, where they're pretty. You could take one of your black and white, non-colored, pages and send that and be like, hey, you got a coloring book, and it's a digital coloring.
I actually already have one of those. I sell it on my website.
See, there you go.
There you go. So it's like 100 pages of just black and white Offspring, my one shots. It's just black and white of what I thought was the coolest, or a good array of different kind of scenes in black and white. So I already sell that. So
I will say too, real quick, that back to the original artwork thing, I only will do that if the artist offers. Okay. If it's or if they have something, like last campaign, Tim Spavero did sketches of the 2 main characters, and he's like, hey, I was just doodling these characters as a warm-up. Do you want to use these as art to give away? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then Jason Dube, and I gotta add this to the Kickstarter, he gave me the original cover for the first campaign that I did with Set the Hook. So he gave me the cover, the inks for it and everything. So I'm gonna use that as a $200 tier or something. So, yeah.
Nice. So I've got a lot to think about here, and I think you guys are probably talking me into doing a 24-page one-shot rather than trying to do a whole big graphic novel to start off with. John,
I'm actually proposing it in our Cosmos Facebook group, and I'd be interested to circle back to this with Lori. I'm of the opposite. I think the people would want the bigger, fuller story. I think that bigger ticket item, but I'm not sure that I'm necessarily correct in that. Depending on what your goal
would that affect how much? Because we talked a little bit about how much I'm asking or how much I'm trying to, that would affect it. Well, I think 100%. We'd go back to that first number that we talked about.
Yeah,
I would think for a smaller book, for black and white, which again might be the way to go for the first one, just to get my little toe in there.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna have somebody
I'm
throw me in
what other
the
people think.
But yeah, that's great. Let me know what they think.
I just think you should do it. I see. It's weird. I haven't even paid attention to how many followers I got, and somehow I increased by 10. It went from 29 to 39, and I'm like, what the heck? Nice. So I don't know where those 10 people came from, but yay. So I'm also almost at 200 backed projects. So yeah. Then of course I will back yours, Dave, the moment it goes live. Thanks, John was actually number 1 on mine at one point. I was like, hey, John's the first guy who backed my project. So yeah.
Nice. Look at me. I'm going to propose it to our group. I'm wondering what other people would think. I think that'd be a good litmus test.
Great question.
But yeah, so yeah, Chad, I think you had asked Lori, and we can talk about this off air, if she's able to come on the 4th. I couldn't remember if she had circled back to you.
I think she's. I can check, but I'm pretty sure she said yeah.
So we'll leave it up in the air. Hopefully you all tune in next time. We may have a guest, we may not.
Wait, are we doing next week, or was it the 4th?
I think we're going to do the 4th, right?
Okay, not the 28th. Because we keep saying we'll be back next week.
I know, right? It's just kind of next time. I guess it's just
the next time.
The vernacular.
Okay. Yeah, February 4th.
February 4th.
Sounds great.
And actually, now that you reminded me, I have a show on the 2nd to do.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, fun thing, I'm going to be on with Lori on one of the shows. I actually don't remember what day that is either. To the phone. Oh, yeah, and scheduling podcast interviews. That's always fun.
Oof. I'm going on JD's podcast on Sunday.
Oh, that'll be great.
And maybe I'll kind of, they're always talking about Kickstarter, so maybe I'll kind of talk about, maybe I'll ask the same question for someone doing it the first time. Is it a 24-page one-shot or is it a 125-page graphic novel? Which would be smarter?
They're going to tell you that. I know the answer, but yeah, you'll learn.
What will they tell me?
I'm not going to say it out loud. Just, you got to find out. I'll tell you behind closed doors.
They're going to yell at me. They're going to berate me. That's okay. They can berate me. I don't care.
They're not going to berate you. Anyway.
All right. Lots to think about here, guys. Lots to think about.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny kind of going through it with you. Again, we barely cracked the surface of just getting started. It's funny how much it really is once you kind of really think about it. But just like you were telling me off air about Amazon and setting up, it's the same thing. Once you kind of get in the rhythm of it, you've been in there a couple of times, you get used to it. But I do wish there is a lot of upgrades they could make, including they just recently added where you can import tiers from previous campaigns and not have to like retype them all up.
Sure.
But they don't import the pictures that you put in there, and they, you still have to click certain things. So if there was just a way where you could say, duplicate my whole last campaign, that's where I want to start, I would never use anything but Kickstarter, because it is a lot of manual type in, go to this tier, save this. Oh, the photo thing that isn't working, get mad, yell at my computer, log out, log back in. Now it works. It's like still not the best interface in the world.
That's for any of these things, no lie. And I know, again, you're going to make old man jokes here, but the amount of like, go to this page, then go to this page, then go to this page, and go to this page. I'm like 10 pages into it, I'm like, I don't care this much. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm done. Whatever this was, it's not that anymore, because I'm done with it. And I could give you a couple examples. I won't say which ones out loud. But one happened just the other night. I was like, this is probably a good idea. Let me start. And I'm sitting there, and I was like 12 pages into it. I'm like, guys, this is the 6th time you've asked me the same question.
Yes.
So
and I will tell you, Kickstarter feels like they started from a bad place, and they've been constantly just trying to upgrade it. They really just need to tear it down and kind of start over, because it isn't very intuitive. It's not user friendly in a lot of what they do. So, that's why I'm always happy to have these kind of conversations with people. When I first started, people helped me, and I'm happy. So don't feel bad. You're reaching out. Hey, this is frustrating. This is not working. Whatever you're at, I want to help people because people help me,
Yeah. And again, if I could pick the 2 guys to do it with me,
I don't want to do
anything. It'd be these 2. It'd be these 2 jokers.
These 2
jokers.
Long live the Cosmos, right?
Long live the Cosmos.
Oh, that's your sign off. Is that your sign off for this?
It is now. It is now.